Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Today we're going to cover how to clean and dress your tyres properly. Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. So today we're doing a video on cleaning your tyres and dressing them. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the chemical choices, which is really important. There's going to be a little bit of overlap with cleaning alloy wheels in general, but at some point I'll do a video on how to clean alloy wheels. So as always, when you're cleaning your car, you're going to be pre-washing it first and laying that pre-wash out. Make sure to get it all over the arches and the wheels as well, and use that pressure washer to get as much of the loose kind of dirt off as you can. And that's always kind of a good thing to do and important. So you should do that when you're cleaning your wheels and tyres as well. So how we're going to do this video, guys, we're going to talk about some of these products, which is the important thing that I want you to listen to. Then we're going to talk about some of the brushes, and then we'll jump in and actually do the tyre cleaning. So let's start with the chemical products and choices first. Now down here I have 25 litres of, let's call it trade wash, so I don't get into any trouble. 25 litres of this trade wash degreaser cost me about 20 quid, and you use it at 50 to 1 for heavy cleaning and 100 to 1 for light cleaning. So at the light cleaning ratio, that's going to give you about 2,500 litres of degreaser. So you're going to be paying pennies per litre for the chemical cost of this stuff. Do I recommend you go and use this stuff on your, you know, when you're cleaning your tyres and putting it in your arches and your alloys? No. Simple answer is it's just too caustic and too corrosive. You've seen probably videos or pictures on Facebook groups and forums of guys that have been down the local car washes and come back and their alloys have kind of opaked up a little bit and gone a bit white. And that is usually typically because someone's gone at them with something that's too aggressive and contains some nasty chemicals. Now there's a place for all this stuff, so it's not completely undesired, and sometimes fast potent cleaning is required, not having a pop at the kind of fast valet places where you pay 5 quid, because some of those places the guys work their nuts off and do what the people that are going there want them to do. But definitely you need to be careful with this stuff. So it's very, very cheap. Why is it caustic and corrosive? Because there's typically some chemicals out there that you can find in certain detailing products which are just caustic and corrosive. Things I try and avoid: phosphoric acid or any other phosphates, and a lot of these products will say phosphates free, which is a good thing. Sodium hydroxide, another kind of can of worms, a very strong alkaline cleaner that again is widely used, but it is very, very caustic. It's things like that that have a corrosive effect. You can see it on bare metals, you can see it on your brake discs, your hubs, you can see it on unpainted brake calipers. They will go a nice ghostly shade of white if you use this stuff and leave it on there. Even if you're quite clever with it and get it off quickly, they tend to ghost up, cloud up, and that promotes, that's oxidization, promotes rusting, and you'll see like a unpainted or bare metal caliper, as they're kind of called, corrode pretty rapidly. That's the effect on metals that you can see. Then there's a whole argument about the effect on rubbers, the particular, and clear coat. The rubbers that are used in car tyres, they're porous, they're open, they have like a brown oil in them that the tyre kind of secretes, that's part of the tyre composition. Degreasers break down that oil, and you obviously want to get that oil, that brown film off the surface of the tyre when you clean it. But these products do penetrate in, and if you're using stuff that is really strong and penetrating into the tyre and breaking all of that stuff down that's in the composition of the tyre, you know, you could argue you might wear your tyre out and promote perishing. Hard to gauge, but the way I do it is quite simply on the M140. It's a performance car. It's going to be tearing down the autobahn at 155 miles an hour, if that's not illegal, whatever the legal limit is out there. It's going to be driven hard. It's going to, like I say, I'm going to be taking it to the Nürburgring and blasting it around the tracks. So I'm a little bit mindful of all this of using all these strong chemicals, but also because of that corrosive effect and what that does on the you know, lacquered finishes and bare metals and stuff like that, as well as the rubber and the clear coat. So I wouldn't recommend you use a strong caustic TFR generally on cars at all. There was a time and a place that I used to use this on the van, and it still comes in handy. Use it very quickly and get it off very quickly. But generally nowadays, I don't think I'm using this less and less, to the point where I might just get rid of it. So let's talk about what you could use and how you do it. Well, you've got this whole range of other chemicals that are kind of more detailing friendly. So through from shampoos, normal shampoos you can wash your car with, through to stronger wheel shampoos that are perhaps a little bit more, got a little bit more chemicals in them that give them a bit more kick, perhaps some alkaline cleaners, who knows. General purpose APCs, dedicated ready mix degreasers, a more of a concentrated all-purpose cleaner that's a good degreaser like Surfex HD, and then finally something like this, which is a strong alkaline cleaner. So this is Koch Chemie Green Star that I featured very recently in the Koch video. £5 for a litre of it. You can use it. Its strongest ratio is 5 to 1. 10 to 1 is more than adequate for tyres, all the way down to 30 to 1 for light cleaning. Cool thing about this is it's non-caustic. It won't promote corrosion, doesn't leave any horrible film. It's actually got rust inhibitors in it, so it is safe for using on your car. You know, it's safe for the exterior, it is safe around the wheel arches and the wheels, and it's ideal. It's good for cleaning out rubber. Just a squirt of this at 10 to 1 will have a good effect. And it's so cheap. At 10 to 1, you're effectively getting 10 litres of product for a £5, so you're paying 50p a litre. So if you're in that sort of ilk where you're really looking to save money but have an effective product that's still safe, this Green Star is very, very hard to overlook. And it's, you know, I'm a bit of a tight ass, and I like to be able to bulk down products. Not everyone does. If you want something and you're not using tons and tons of it, these ready to go degreasers, I've got the Adams Tyre and Rubber Cleaner, Britemax Grime Out. They are very good, and you haven't got to bulk them out. You like I say, they're ready to go, and you spray them on. You'll pay a little bit more for that privilege, but they're still good products. A good halfway house actually is this Surfex HD. This, if you start going above 10%, you know, it's a concentrated product again, so you bulk it down. If you bulk it above 10%, you get a good level of cleaning, which I find is good enough for tyres as well. So there's a whole load of options for you there. Let's just talk about APCs. Generally with APCs, I find they can be just different product to product. One could be like a degreaser, like your Surfex HD. Another one could be like more for cleaning your interiors, and it doesn't have any particular strong cleaners in there, and you end up upping the concentration. Sometimes they can be the wrong tool for the job, and the net result of that is that when you're going on cleaning the tyre and then buffing it over with the cloth, which we'll talk about later on in the technique, you're actually seeing quite a lot of that film still on there, that black film. So it depends on the product, but for that reason I tend to look for more degreasers than all-purpose cleaners. I find it's the best tool for the job. With these shampoos, I like to have even though I'm using a degreaser which I'll put onto the tyre, I like to have a bucket with all my brushes in it that has got some sort of detergent soap in it, you know. Whether that's a normal car shampoo or a dedicated wheel shampoo, I'm not sure, you know, would I buy these wheel shampoos if I wasn't doing all this detailing channel stuff? Maybe I would. I reach for them instead of the normal ones. But really it's the degreaser that's doing the work, and I just like to get a bit of foam up there and have them in the buckets. Generally I can clean the brush out in the bucket as well and keep it dunked in there. So it's not that important to me what's in the bucket. The important thing is the degreaser. So that is a little quick note on products, and now I want to go on to brushes, and then we'll go on to the procedure. So I just wanted to get that out of the way there. It's taken me about 500 takes. I did one take, went back up, the audio was bad. Did another take, went back up, and the autofocus was having a moment. And then I did another take and had a bogey hanging out my nose. It's just all fun and games this, so I wanted to get through this one quickly. So let's move on to the next segment. Jesus. Next, in terms of brushes for the tyre, guys, well, I've always just used this Vikan one because it was kind of good enough for me. Scrubs the alloy as well. It's very dense, all the nylon strands in this, and they're tapered at the end, so it's actually for using on the face of your alloy wheels as well. Now, we're talking about cleaning the rubber here, not talking about the face of the alloy wheels. Any nylon brush will scratch up clear coat on alloy wheels, in my opinion. But it's the type of scratches you'll only see, again, in the heavy kind of light if you go looking for them. If I can take the alloy off, pitch black it out here and go over an alloy that I've cleaned with this, after a couple of 6 months of cleaning with this, it will have put quite a lot of hazing into that finish, in my opinion. On certain cars, I couldn't give a monkey's about that. On the Golf, I just want to get it clean when I wash it. I want to get it clean as quickly as I can. So I'll just blast over the face with this and go over the tyre. If you are worried about preserving the finish of your alloys, and in a lot of cases you might well be, you know, if they're nice alloy wheels, then you're probably looking to, you know, pre-wash this. You almost treat it like the car, pre-wash it, get as much of that road film off, soak your cleaner on there, and perhaps use a softer mitt or something like that, so that you're not really going in hard with nylon on all that dirt. Common sense kind of stuff, really, depending on, you know, your trade-off is always time versus kind of how carefully you clean. Now, in terms of actually cleaning the rubber on the tyre, this brush works quite well. It's a bit on the big side, and it's a bit kind of soft, maybe a little bit. I've just bought this Tuff Shine brush. It's something I've seen for a while. I wanted to use it. Matt has it on Obsessed Garage, and if he's using it, it's going to be good. Paul Dalden just reviewed it. Check out Paul's channel if you haven't. It's a brush that a lot of professional detailers use, and it's a brush that's pretty cheap as well. It's $4.95 over here in the UK, so it's nice. It's a bit of a bargain. It's a much more sort of stiffer, aggressive brush than the Vikan. You won't be using this to clean the face of your alloys, okay? It's a dedicated tyre rubber brush cleaner. It is the right size. It's easy to hold, it's sturdy as hell, and it's probably, you know, once you get this, you are not going to go looking for any other tyre brush because it is totally suitable. So that's a good recommendation. Okay guys, so we're ready to clean the tyre now. You may well have pre-rinsed, or you should have pre-rinsed your car before you washed it if you're kind of into all this stuff. And your tyre might be wet. Do you need to dry it off so you don't alter the concentration of the products? Not really, but it does affect it. So it's down to you. It's going to be more about, like I say, getting it on there, letting it work and scrubbing the hell out of it than whether or not you apply it dry or wet. So, you know, that's kind of getting into the micromanagement area where you can do it one way or the other, and I don't specifically go out my way to do it dry or anything like that. Also should probably have the old safety glasses on, because this stuff sprays around and can get into your eyes, and all these things will make your eyes sting, so consider that as well, like I said in that safety glasses video. Anyway, let's stop yakking, let's get it on there. So I'm going to put this rubber dressing, this rubber cleaner all around the tyre. And already, let me grab the camera, forgive this. Already you can see, if I get the focus sorted out, why I like this particular product. It just lifts, seems to pull the dirt out of the tyres like they explain. You can see that filming, if I can get the focus right. You can see that kind of filming of the dirt as it pulls it out. So it's good stuff, this. But now what we need to do is work it into the tyre. So let me put the camera back. Where are we? There we go. Get back there. Get the focus. There we go. Okay. Right. Generally when I'm cleaning out alloy wheels, I will fill a bucket up with shampoo. I've got all these dedicated wheel shampoos like from Duca and HDD that are good. Would I go out and buy them specifically? Maybe. You could just use normal shampoo. They do have a little bit more potency in there. They're not for paintwork. Again, that's getting into personal preference, but for just cleaning the rubber in this video, we're really just talking about, you know, these products that we're going to use directly onto here rather than the rest of the alloy. So I always have a bucket of something nice and soapy and foamy to do this with. And now I'm just going to scrub it out. Right, let me bring you back in. So you can see here kind of why I like this product. And the brush is fantastic as well. It is just pulling all of the dirt out of this. So now I've worked that cleaner around the rubber. Next thing to do is rinse it off and have a look at how clean we've got this. So let's just put this like that. Okay. Now, let me get that out of the way. Now the first thing is, after you've rinsed this tyre down, it's going to look lovely and clean when it's wet. So we've taken off most of the dirt. You can see the tyre now in the image looks black and shiny. When this dries, it will go dull and kind of greyer again. So it's hard to tell how clean you've got this. I'm still getting some dirt coming off on my hands. So next bit of equipment, and this is one of the most important bits of tooling you can have when cleaning tyres properly, and that is microfiber that you can use. It's going to get heavily dirty and heavily trashed, so it's the cheaper stuff, and this, I'm using the Costco here, and what we're going to be doing is going over with the short side of the Costco, because this will pull more dirt. The brush is great for working the dirt and working that product, but this will actually lift it off the rubber more. So I've got to do this left-handed for this video shot, so bear with me. So as you can see, this microfiber is pulling a hell of a lot of dirt off of the tyre. It looked clean, but it wasn't. And another thing I haven't talked about is you can never get under here with the car. So really, if you're a perfectionist, you've got to move the car forward sort of half a foot so that this bit of it comes up here and you can access the tyre. So that's another thing you need to do. Might as well wait till you've done all four before you do that, or else you're going to be moving the car backwards and forwards 4 times, which is a bit of a pain. If the car isn't an automatic, I sometimes take the handbrake off and I'll just give it a roll, but I can't with this one because it's automatic. So this rubber now on the car looks relatively clean. Unfortunately, it is not that clean, and what you need to do more often than not, if you want to get the tyre really nice, is go multiple times. So we're going to go back on with the Adams rubber cleaner. I know time is a big factor with this, guys, and I'm talking a lot. Really, when you're doing this though, you're going to get this product on there, scrub the hell out of it, do what I've just done in, hopefully about 30 seconds, and then at least go one more time to get the rubber really, really good. So we're just going to try and, I'll stop talking and just do this next phase as quick as I can. And we go back in with our microfiber. Just find a nice clean bit. Right, the amount of dirt coming off the microfiber this time is a lot less. In fact, really, this tyre now is at the stage where it is ready to be dressed. So I'm going to pull the camera out and we'll talk a little bit about dressings. Right, final stage, guys, putting the dressing on. So we've got clean rubber. We want to make sure the rubber's dry, ideally, so you can go over it again with the microfiber. And then the final thing is like the choice of tyre dressing that you may use. Now, here's the kind of truth, and this is nothing controversial. No matter what you dress your tyres with, they get hit so much with all the you know, they're the thing that makes contact with the road. They're the thing that are right next to your brakes. No matter what you dress them with, they're going to get dirty very, very quickly. In the wetter months in the UK, you can dress them, and then the moment you drive your car out there when it's wet and greasy and sleety and horrible, your tyres are going to look rubbish and need cleaning again before they look good. In the summer, when it's drier, you know, a good dressing can actually make the tyre look good for, you know, a few weeks. So it depends on the time of the year, but ultimately cleaning them, and if you want them to look really nice, you're going to be doing this procedure quite a lot. And it is everything. There's so many little areas on the car that you can spend time on. This is one that's probably worth doing it, but it's a messy, horrible job, and you've got to get down on your knees and do it, you know, and try and do it quickly. Now, in terms of the products you put on, guys, you hear, you know, water-based and solvent-based is the two things you'll hear about with tyre dressings. And what they're talking about there is that essentially the carrier for the product which is going to be going on the tyres. Now, most of these tyre dressing contain forms of silicone, so they're ones, you know, the amount of silicone products out there are huge, and what they can do chemically, you know, there's all these modified forms of silicone out there. Some of them could be very, very simple. Some of them might be quite complicated. Now, with a solvent-based one, a solvent has the ability to dissolve whatever ingredient you're using in there more than water, and the solvent will also vaporize out of that system, you know, different to water. So generally what I find is the solvent-based ones seem to be thicker, more glossy type of dressings generally, but the downside can be that they don't seem to create this dry film of dressing like the water-based ones. Not always. There's exceptions to every rule, but that's a bit of a generalisation. The water-based ones, you can argue, are safer on your tyres, although I've never seen any evidence of tyres kind of perishing, you know, or cracking or drying out from using solvent-based products. But with any of this, it's going to be a product by product basis. You never know, there may be a tyre dressing out there that's using a very aggressive form of solvent that's not suitable, so you've got to put your faith in the provider of the dressing. Some very simple recommendations, guys. Just an all-round good dressing that I've reviewed. Carpro Pearl, nice dark satin finish. You can layer it up if you want to increase the gloss. You can water it down if you want to decrease it a bit. It's just a very good all-round dressing, and I like it on tyres because it brings back the blackness a little bit. You've got the Meguiar's Endurance that everyone uses, a very high gloss. Never fully dries. In the sun it can almost get quite greasy and attract dirt a little bit, but you know, the tyre's going to get dirty anyway. But it's a real, I still think this is a good show one. You know, if you really want to bling out your tyres, then this is pretty good stuff. You've got a good water-based one here, Angel Wax Elixir. So this tends to go a little bit drier. It's more of a kind of matty finish once it's dried. It's supposed to kind of protect the tyre more. Definitely attracts dirt less, but it's probably fair to say you know it's all about what you're looking for, and this is probably less blingy than Meguiar's Endurance. So it's all horses for courses. This one, which I particularly like, I only got a little sample of it, was the Adams Tyre Shine one. The reason I like it is it's high gloss, but high gloss, probably not as shiny as or wet looking as the Meguiar's one, but still very glossy. But it dries, you know, and you can actually run your hand over the rubber, you know, an hour later, and it's dry but glossy, and it seems to stick around well. So that's quite a good one. Let me know in the comments what your favourite one is. I don't have any massive bias or preference to tyre dressings. I'll try them all. Some of them are not great. those 4 that I've recommended you are all decent, and there's loads of other decent ones out there. Like I say, no matter what you use, you are still going to be needing to do this procedure regularly, and getting the tyre clean first and dry is going to be one of the most important things. But anyway, let's put one of these dressings on. Just a quick thing on applicators. So I use, whatever applicator you use is going to get dirty, okay? No matter how well you've cleaned the tyres, it's going to pick up black film over it, especially with the solvent ones, which are kind of going to clean the tyre a little bit more as you're putting it on as well. So don't worry too much about that. But what that means is any applicator that I use has to be really dirt cheap. So sponges I find are pretty good generally. You can just use like a pound sponge and cut it up into pieces. Those soft sponges tend to break up as you're rubbing them over the rubber though. Even these ones, these are quite nice foams. These are the ZFE specials that are very, very cheap. Quite a bit more denser and harder than the sort of, you know, Poundland foams, if you like. You still don't want to go rubbing too hard with these. It is only sponge at the end of the day, and you can start breaking them up. But these are my recommendations. Sometimes a little cheap microfiber pad can work very well. It's got to be a cheap one because you're going to trash them. Can work very well for applying dressings, perhaps more the water-based ones, where you can soak them into that microfiber and rub them over and work them. Anyway, which one we'll go with? We'll apply Car Pro Pearl this time around. I'm going to apply it neat. You can do 50-50 with water as they recommend if you like. What else was I going to say? Come on, brain. What else was I going to say? It was semi-important. What else the hell was I going to say? Microfiber. Oh. Okay, so I've got a sponge here that's seen some action, but it's kind of clean enough to dress this tyre. You can put the dressing on the tyre if you like. Problem is, if you go spraying this around, this one's in a spray bottle, you're going to get all the silicone all over the alloy wheels. They're not clean in this example, but most of the times you'll have cleaned the alloys before you dress these. So really, Megs have probably got it right with the way that you apply this. Generally, I don't like to spray these things around. If they are going to spray, I'm going to put it onto this thing. Oh, that's going to go everywhere now. This stuff is all, you know, these silicons are always a bit dirty and slimy. So I'm going to put a fair amount of this dressing on here, and I am going to work it around this tyre now. And I want to get it into that little kind of groove there and try not to get any of it on the alloy. So I've got a little bit on the alloy there, never mind. Let's work that around. You want to use a good amount of this as well, guys. Now I'm going to load up a little bit more. Again, getting it in that little gap so the whole of it looks black. And also I would have to be moving this alloy now to get that bit dressed as well, which is something you've got to do. It looks horrible when that top bit shows and there's no dressing on it. Bit of a pain, but it's just part of the deal, unfortunately. And I'm going to just take my microfiber cloth and just make sure I get any of this dressing which has hit the side of the rim off. Now people talk about, where are you? People talk about sling with these dressings, so the heavier, the thicker the dressing, the more prone it is going to be to slinging. So if you put quite a lot on, I put quite a lot on here, there's little bits where it's sitting in all of these kind of grooves. And if I drove the car now, some of that dressing is going to splatter, sling away and splatter on the paintwork and stuff like that. So you want to avoid it. How can you avoid it? Well, if I need to use the car straight away after cleaning it, I'll go around with a microfiber cloth and just pick up the excess. So if I go around this outside here like that, make sure I get it, any excess out of these bits here, then it won't do it. The rest of this I'm going to leave. Okay, so I'm not using the car. If I needed to use the car right away, I could just gently buff over this. But the rest of it, I just want to leave, and it will dry off. Any sort of little trails and tram lines will settle down, but there's a good thick layer of dressing on there now. You can wait for it to dry and then apply another coat. That will sort of bring up the gloss, or you can leave it on a single coat. It doesn't really matter. Final conclusion on cleaning and dressing rubber tyres. I've done this take about 5 times. I'm going through it this time, mistakes and all, no matter what. This is more about hard work, getting down on your knees and getting stuck in and really scrubbing out those tyres. But some of the key points on the video, the brush is really important actually, and this Tuff Shine brush, it's the first time I've used it. I'm really impressed with it. It's better than the Vikan brush for doing tyres, specifically tyres. That's what it's kind of made for, and it's cheap and it works really well. Like I said with the chemicals, for me, I will be looking to use something that's non-caustic, non-corrosive, or you know, less aggressive. But the tyre cleaner is still important. We'll all have our favourites, and I'm sure there's loads of other good ones out there. Let me know in the comments what you're using and why you use it. You know, it might be an all-purpose cleaner or whatever. Just let me know what it is. But whatever you get on that tyre, working the hell out with it with this Tuff Shine brush will help. The microfiber is very important, because no matter how much you go over how many sort of cycles of cleaning you do, you actually pull most of the dirt off with this microfiber. So that's the thing that I think you should have, a big pile of trash microfiber for going over there. And also it's good for getting that tyre dry before you apply the dressings. The dressings, as I mentioned, we'll all have personal choice, and we all like to use one, and then when we've got to buy another one, there's a tendency to try another one. So we're always constantly trying products, and I'm like that as well. We'll all have our favourites. Let us know what you like in the comments and why you use it, and I'll try and test out some more, and maybe we'll do like a comparison video of tyre dressings one day. But it's very much coming down to personal opinion with this, so it's a hard one to kind of say this is my favourite, because someone else would have a different one. But I suppose you could say that with everything. And also tyre applicators are quite important, and I think these sponges are good. What do you use and why? Like I've said, my priority is something that's cheap, because they're going to get trashed, so I'm not going to pay a fortune for tyre applicators, because no matter how good they are, they're going to get in a pretty bad state relatively quickly. That's it, guys. So that is the tyre cleaning and dressing video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Loads more stuff to come, as I always say at the end of the videos. We've got more product shootouts in certain categories coming this year, and some brand reviews coming very soon. So if you've not already subscribed to the channel, do so to get notification on when all these kind of new videos come out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Bye for now.